What's up, everybody? My name is Flip, and welcome to my channel that I still haven't named because I have no idea what I'm calling it yet. I am a stay-at-home dad, and I am doing what I can to start a career in voiceover. So I decided, why not start a YouTube channel and bring you all along for the ride? So, today, we are going to check out my booth. And for me to be able to show you what it's like, I'm going to have to take it apart. So, here we go. So there you have it. This is what it sounds like when I don't have anything around me. I don't know if you could hear it, but I could definitely hear the difference. One of the things people usually do to test it out is do something like this. I think it's pretty obvious. So what I'm going to do now is record in Audacity what it's going to sound like with the ambient noise. I'll do a test now and then a test with the booth back together again. Let's see if you guys can tell the difference. Here we go.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Hopefully you guys can tell the difference in the sound. So that's done. And now let's see how it's going to be to put the whole thing back together. Whee!
All right, let's get this thing back together now. As you can see, there is a frame that I made with very cheap wood. You can see where I got it right here. It's just 1 inch by 3 inch by 8 foot furring strip board. Each one was only about $3.30. I would say I used about 10 to be on the safe side. And I just measured my space that I would need by sitting on a chair. And then I measured around the desk, around my height, whatever I would need. I also wanted to make sure I didn't go too far up high because of the fact that I was planning on hopefully finding some office cubicle walls to help with the sound treatment. So when I put the frame, as you can see, take a close look. I literally just had the 2 rectangles that went on each side of the desk from the desk back behind me. And then I had them go over my head, and then the 2 pieces went straight out over the desk. So all I had to do was put 2 pieces going straight down to support them. So I didn't have to worry about, any mismeasurements when it came to putting a desk in there, or if I had to switch a desk or change whatever. It made it much easier for me to be able to do that. And all it really was putting some pieces of wood straight across the top just to make it so they balanced out. Other than that, the blankets, once everything's put together, it stays together pretty easily. Some people like to put holes in their moving blankets and tie them into places. I found it much simpler because I never know exactly what's going to be the best way to get this together, to use spring-loaded clamps. And I literally just got a pack like this from Home Depot where you get a whole bunch of different sizes, and you could also, whatever you don't use, there's plenty of uses you could use, and it's less than $10. It made it very easy to keep adjusting whenever I needed to. And attached to the frame, I have, as you can see, some rope lights that I got at Home Depot. They were 24-foot white rope lights. My only problem with these is that when it's hot out, like in the summer, they do tend to start heating up inside the booth. So it does get pretty warm in there. If you have an option, if you can afford it, I'd say go with LED. Although I do have to say, during the winter, when it's cold in my basement, it really helps. When it came to putting together the rope lights, I just started at one corner and kind of just used clamps to test which direction I was going to go because I wanted to be able to see everything clearly inside. And then after that, I used ties. As you can see here, I got these at Harbor Freight, 100 pack, a 15 inch, only for $8.49. It's really affordable. I love Harbor Freight, by the way. I get a lot of simple things at Harbor Freight because of the fact of how amazing the prices are, like ties, cheap tools, gloves, stuff like that. And as you can see, I'm already starting to put the moving blankets on. Now, the moving blankets I purchased were from Amazon a long time ago because of the fact that we moved, so I already had these on hand. So what I did was I went out and I looked, obviously, and I found it at Harbor Freight. I made sure to make the size what I got from Amazon, which was 72 inches by 80 inches, because you definitely want to make sure that they go all the way from the top down to the floor, not to leave any air flow. You don't want to leave any space for sound to come in and out. The number of blankets that I used, I would say 2 on top, 2 on each long side, 1 in the front, 1 in the back. That makes a total of 8 blankets at $9 each. Not bad. So when I was putting the frame together, I used these self-drilling screws so that you didn't have to drill holes before you put the pieces of wood together, which sometimes if you don't do that, the pieces will start to split and break. And this way it made it for a much simpler, much faster job for me, because when I was putting this frame together, I literally would spend maybe 5-10 minutes between, taking care of my daughter. If I took her to school and I had, just a few minutes between my chores that I was doing around the house, running around, grocery shopping, whatever, I literally would stop, and I had a pile of stuff in my garage in my basement, and I would just put together whatever I could with the measurements that I had. I might just, have a pile of wood and cut whatever I could. And slowly but surely, I put it together piece by piece, and I got what you see here. Now, when it came to buying the screws, yes, this is on the more expensive side when you think about buying screws, but I use these screws for everything. I do a lot of silly little projects for my daughter, toys. I even built her once a painting easel just because she wanted to paint one day, and I had a bunch of scrap wood in the garage. I said, sure, and I sat there and put a bunch of stuff together, and I made her a cool little painting easel. One thing I also forgot to mention, make sure that you try to put something on the ground if you have a hard floor. If you don't have any carpeting, definitely put some kind of a rug underneath because it helps a lot with reverb, and it's more comfortable. Yeah. Yes, when this is completely closed, I'm sure even without using the lights inside, I'm sure it'll still warm up because there is no circulation whatsoever. So you'll find yourself, keeping everything closed up when you're actually recording. But if it's while you're just working on a file, best bet is to leave one side open a little bit, let it air out, or else it'll get a little musty. If you guys end up catching in the fast forward of this, yeah, I kind of like dancing with everything I do. I'm always listening to music around the house. Makes life so much easier. So, places I also like to find things. I try to find things as cheap as possible. Free is even better. I go to websites like Facebook Market. I also use FreeCycle. You can find it at freecycle.org. You put in your area, and then you find people posting stuff for free. You could also post if you want something specific, and if somebody close to you has it, then they'll let you know, and you can go and pick it up. But Facebook Marketplace is usually where I get most of my stuff, and this is where my camera decided to stop recording. So I'm just gonna jump over to the next video. I did find the bigger office cubby walls that you see on Facebook Marketplace. I got them for only $20. Somebody was moving their house and they just had to get rid of them. So I asked the neighbor to help me drive over there and used his truck, and it was very easy, and I got it for $20. The other 2 smaller walls that you see, I actually got those through somebody in town that had to move, and they literally were emptying their house out and just leaving stuff on the sidewalk. And one day I saw 2 cubby walls. I was like, no way. You guys getting rid of these? They were like, yes, please. So I went and I got them. Also used another friend's truck because my car wasn't big enough. Ask, look around. You can get things. Once you start going after something, you will see that people will want to help you. It's actually amazing. Just ask. There's, what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to say no. Boo-hoo. Move on. And I hope this helps you guys figure something out. If you could get your hands on some of these office walls, I definitely recommend it. They're a huge help when it comes to the reverb. So as you see, I like putting my laptop outside the booth because of the fact that there's a fan that makes noise and the microphone picks up everything. So what I did is I just fed the wires. Here, you see me doing it over, but after the fact, I ended up putting it under, which made it a lot simpler. And I used a USB hub so I could attach all the wires into one thing and just have one plug that goes into the laptop, and then everything works perfectly. And here is where I got the hub, which I did not mention before. Sorry about that. The final price for everything all together, just over $200, which all said and done, I still think is pretty good.
So there you have it, guys. Pretty simple, pretty quick, and not very expensive. So if this is something you guys might be able to do, I definitely suggest you do it. Any questions you got, put it down in the comments. As I always promised, every week I'm going to do an audition. So let's get to it. Okay, so I found another audition in Casting Call Club, and it's for a role named Ramiro, and it's for Faded animated series. The character is named Ramiro. He is the father of Javi and a very friendly person. He always has a thoughtful and wishful tone, thinking about things of the past. He's a former soldier, and as such has a very tactical mind, as well as the ability to turn off and become very calculating. Ramiro is 43, I'm 1 year away, and has a sort of high, though very kind voice. I think that sounds like me. Let's go. Javi, leave Cairo alone. Javi, leave Cairo alone. Javi, leave Caro alone. You can't train boys without knowing what you're training them for. War? You've never seen it. You can't train boys without knowing what they're... You can't train boys without knowing what you're training them for. War. You've never seen it. You can't train boys without knowing what you're training them for. War? You've never seen it. You can't train boys without knowing what you're training them for. War. You've never seen it. I know. I just hope they didn't poison Javi with their words. I know. I just hope they didn't poison Javi with their words. I know. I just hope they didn't poison Javi with their words. And there you have it. Well, thank you all for coming with me on this ride today. I hope you enjoyed checking out my booth. I hope some of you find this helpful, and I hope some of you enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy it, give me a like. If you guys want to keep watching, subscribe. And if you guys got anything to say, or any recommendations, or any requests, let me know in the comments below. It's late. Thank you guys again. See you on the flip side, and check out the next video. Oh man, I gotta go to sleep.